Well, hello there. It's Spectrum time again. This is exciting. And we've been learning about the books of the Bible, haven't we? And sometimes it's hard to remember things, but sometimes if you put them to a beat, it helps remember them. So while we're singing with the band, you pay special attention to the drums, see what kind of beat Teacher Rick is using, and try and think, is there anything we could do to put the books to a beat? I don't know if there is or not, but you might get some clues as we're singing this morning, so let's sing along with the band.
Okay, welcome everyone to Spectrum. Guys, you want to repeat something after me?
Sure.
So we can get everybody wound up a little bit?
Sounds great.
Okay, I can do
all things through
Christ who strengthens me.
Christ who strengthens me.
Okay, let's try it again. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Christ who strengthens me.
Doesn't that give you a boost of confidence?
Oh man, does it
Ever, isn't that cool? Let's try to say it all together. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Through you, I can do anything. I can do all things, 'cause it's you who gives me strength. Nothing is impossible. Through you, blind eyes are open. Strongholds are broken. I am living by faith. Nothing is impossible. I'm not gonna live by what I see. I'm not gonna live by what I feel. Oh, yes, we do believe in the Lord. That is so exciting.
It really is. It really is.
Were you made for this, Scott?
I sure was.
Okay, here we go.
I was made for this. I live for this. God has a reason for my life. I'm gonna shout it out without a doubt. I was born for this, built for a purpose. There is a God who made it all, everything we see. He built the mountains, built the oceans, and He built me. He is with me, He is for me. I am not alone. He is with me, He is for me. And I know that I was made for this. I live for this. God has a reason for my life. I know without a doubt. Shout it out. I was born for this, built for a purpose. He's with me, He's for me. I am not alone. He is with me, He is for me. I am not alone. Sing it again. He is with me, He is for me. I am not alone. He is with me, He is for me. And I know that I was made for this. I live for this. God has a reason for my life. I know without a doubt. Shout it out. I was born for this, built for a purpose. I was built for a purpose. I was built for a purpose. Oh, that is so true. I want you to remember that today. You were built for a purpose. You weren't a mistake. You weren't an accident. But God has a purpose and God has a plan for your life. Well, let's enjoy the teaching now.
Are we ready? Do you have your brains ready? Did you have your cereal this morning, or your pancakes, or your Eggo waffles, or whatever you had? Because we are going to add some more books to the Bible. You guys learned 5 last week and did amazing. But guess what? We're going to add a bunch more today. And by the end of today, we're going to know 17. Can you imagine? 17 books of the Bible. So I hope you're ready. I hope you got your smarts already. I bet you do. Let's go over what we learned last week. Do you remember? What's the very first book of the Bible? If I took my Bible and I opened to the very first book, what would it be? Genesis, right. So we did this for Genesis. So we did Genesis, God created the world. We did Exodus, because that's when God parted the Red Sea for Moses. Then we did Leviticus. Remember, that was the priest who wore that in that little box. Does anybody remember what that little box was called? A phylactery. It's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, that's the little box. So that was the little box for Leviticus. Numbers was when God counted the people. And then Deuteronomy, second time he had to give the law, because the first time they didn't get it. All right, let's do it together. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. We did it, 5 of them. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next section. I think we can do it. Now this next section is called the history books. Those first 5, remember, they were called the law, and these ones are going to be called the history books. Now I have a history book here. This history book, it's not the history of the children of Israel. This history book is the history of Pastor Julia going to high school. This is my high school yearbook. Can you imagine? Now the funny thing is, when I looked in, they're in alphabetical order, and I looked up B. Back in high school, my last name wasn't Benwell. It was Seymour. So I had to look up under S's. So I looked up Julia Seymour, and I found myself. I'm way down here in the corner. And look, all the girls had the same kind of hair. It was like that feathery look. And do you know what? Who else went to my high school? Teacher Beth went to my high school, and her brother David and her sister Elaine. I went with all the Yadens to high school. And I think that's the only people you would know that I went to high school with, because I went to high school out in Spryfield at a place called J.L. Ilsley High School. So this is my history book because, like I said, I was looking through it and I saw all these people that I kind of forgot about. And I looked at their pictures and I was like, wow. So this is a history of my high school. But we're not going to talk about the history of my high school today. We're talking about the history of God's people, aren't we? And so that's why the next 12 books are called history books. And remember our cups that we were doing to stack? What I did was the first 5 I did in one color, and then the next 12 I did in another color, because one color was the law books and then one color was the history books. But we'll get to that in a few minutes at the end. So today we're going to talk about the history books and the history of the children of Israel. And so the children of Israel inherited the promised land. After they got out of exile and all that, they inherited the promised land and then they forgot about God. Again, how many times did the children of Israel forget about God? Oh, and in this section, in the history section, there's a lot of stories that you would know. There's the story of the walls of Jericho coming down. There's the story of David and Goliath and of Saul. There's stories of like Ruth and Queen Esther. All those are in the next 12 books that we're going to do. Those are all in the history books. So we're going to watch one of them now. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but see if you can guess. What do you think? Which story that you know that's in the history part of the Bible do you think this is going to be? Well, you watch and see if you got it right.
Slapstick Theater. David and Goliath. This is David.
Hey!
David was a shepherd who lived in Bethlehem. David was chosen by God to be the next king of Israel when he was just a boy. But David had to wait a very long time until that promise would come true, because there was another king of Israel named Saul. Saul led the armies of Israel. One day, King Saul was with his army near the valley of Elah. On the other side of this valley, the Philistines, the enemies of Israel, gathered their army ready to fight. The Philistines had a giant warrior named Goliath who challenged the Israelites.
Hey!
Goliath spoke badly of God and his people. He shouted and taunted them, saying, "Choose one man to come down here and fight me." The Israelites and King Saul were very afraid. Meanwhile, David's father sent David to bring some food to his brothers and their captain. Goliath came out of the Philistines' army, and David heard him shout his usual mean taunts to the army of Israel.
Whoa, what?
As soon as the Israelites saw Goliath, they began to run away in fright.
See ya!
David asked, "Who is this Philistine anyway, that he has allowed to defy the armies of the living God?" David's questions were reported to King Saul, and the king sent for him.
Hi!
David said, "Don't worry about this Philistine. I'll go fight him." Saul said, "There's no way you can fight him and win. You're only a boy."
Wait!
But David told Saul that he had taken care of his father's sheep and rescued them from lions and bears. Then David declared, "The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and bear will rescue me from this Philistine." So Saul said, "All right, go ahead and may the Lord be with you." David picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight Goliath. When Goliath saw him coming, he sneered at him and yelled bad things at David. But David said, "You come to me with a sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies." Goliath moved closer to attack, and David quickly ran out to meet him. He hurled a stone from his sling and hit Goliath in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell to the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. But he knew the power of God and trusted God to win the battle against the giant.
It was David, wasn't it? Did you know that David is in a lot of these history books? He goes across several books. He's not just in one of them. We learn about him in 1st and 2nd Samuel, but then he goes on into more books, and you talk about him in Kings and Chronicles, and he's in a lot of them. Anyway, okay, so in this section of the Bible, so we did Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The next starts with Joshua. And Joshua is when the walls of Jericho came down. Joshua was a mighty man of God. So for this one to remember, we're going to do the walls coming down. Let's see, like boom, because the walls of Jericho fell, didn't they? So there's Joshua, and then there's a book called Judges. And Judges were people that God appointed to oversee the children of Israel. And judges use gavels, don't they? I'm trying to think if Rick has a gavel at home. He's not a judge, but he's a law. But sometimes they give lawyers gavels. But anyway, a gavel is a flat thing, and then it's on a stick, and it goes boom. And when the judge makes a rule, he puts down the gavel. So the book of Judges, we're going to do that. So Joshua, the walls come down, and Judges, that's Judges. And then we have sweet little Ruth. There's the story of Ruth. And remember Ruth and her mother-in-law Naomi, and how she left to go with Naomi, and when she got to her new lands, she ended up picking wheat. Remember that? So this one, we're going to pick wheat. That's what we're going to do for Ruth, because that way we'll remember it. So we have Joshua, Judges, and Ruth gathering up all the wheat. So we can remember those three. That's pretty easy. Then comes the story of all the kings in the Bible. See, before that part, the children of Israel didn't have kings. They had some judges, but they didn't have kings. But they said, God, we want a king. We want a king. And so God said, okay, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'll give you a king. So King Solomon came along. And then we have the story of all the kings. And there's 3 books that have 2 parts. So there's 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of 1st and 2nds. But those are all stories of kings, and then it also goes on to Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. So 1st and 2nd Samuel, that's where we learn all about Samuel hearing God's voice and Eli. And it's also where we're introduced to David and Goliath and Saul. So for this one, we're going to go 1st and 2nd Samuel, and we're going to do an S. And I did it backwards so that you could see it on the camera. So we're going to do S, okay? So we got 1st and 2nd Samuel, and then we've got 1st and 2nd Kings, and then we're going to do an A or C. 1st and 2nd Chronicles, because Chronicles starts with C. So those 3 books, we got it? 1st and 2nd, I don't got it. Okay, wait a minute. What are we doing? 1st and 2nd Samuel. Okay. 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Okay, we can do those 3. Let's add them to Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. Can we do it? Okay, so remember, Joshua, the walls fall down. Judges, they rule with a gavel. Joshua, Judges, Ruth, she picks up the wheat. And then we got the 1st and 2nd, 1st and 2nd, 1st and 2nd. We can do this. Okay, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Good job. Even I remembered it. That was really good. Okay, then we only have 3 more books, and we've got all 17. So the 3 more books are Ezra. Now in Ezra, at the end in Chronicles, when the children of Israel got taken captive in Babylon, Ezra helped rescue them. So the next 2, Ezra and Nehemiah, they were leaders who helped rebuild the children of Israel, who helped rebuild Israel. So Ezra, we're going to say, bye-bye, or let's do it this way. We'll do it like Max on the Grinch. You know, the little dog that says hello. We'll wave that way. So it's like, bye-bye. So for Ezra, we're saying bye-bye to Babylon, because the children of Israel didn't want anything more to do with Babylon. So Ezra is our bye-bye wave. And then Nehemiah, we learned about Nehemiah a few years ago. Nehemiah built the wall. So we're going to build for that. So it's Ezra, Nehemiah, and then we have Queen Esther. So we'll do a king again for Esther, because she was an amazing queen. She's one of my favorites in the Bible, Queen Esther, because she did some really cool things. So we have, do you think we can do it together? Oh my goodness, I'm nervous. I don't know if I can do it. Okay, let's try it. So we've got Joshua, we've got Judges, we've got Ruth, then we've got 1st and 2nd Samuel, we got 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, then we've got Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. You did it. You did it. You learned all those. Okay, so if we've learned, now this, all you little math whizzes out there, okay, if we've learned the first 17 books of the Bible, and we said there were 39 in the Old Testament, how many more do we have to go in the Old Testament to learn all the books. So we had 39. We've learned 17. So 39 minus 17 is, I know, this is like your 5-minute math or whatever. Quick, what's it used to be called in math? They used to call them math minutes, mad dashes. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, this is a mad dash. So 22. We have 22 more books to go. But you got 17 done. Amazing. All right, so let me show you the cups for a minute. So we had, it's actually 6 cups last week because I wrote Old Testament 1. But really, we had 5 books of the Bible. And today, we're going to add another 12. So we have 17 in total. So see what I did? I did these ones in one color, because those were the books of the law. And then I did these ones in a different color because those are the books of the history. Remember, we talked about history? So you can do any color you want. But again, you just take your cup and you just write on the lip and then you flip it upside down and then you can stack them like this and you can play all kinds of stacking games with your cups because you can take them apart and take one out and go, oh, I wonder what's missing. We have Joshua, Judges, Ruth, and, we only have 1 Samuel. So it must be 2 Samuel. It is 2 Samuel. Oops, I didn't put him in the right place. I put him where Kings goes. So we'll put 2 Samuel, and then we'll put it back like this. There we go, and we put them all in order. So it's a great way to help you learn. Okay, so that was our cups. Now we have our wonderful color wheel. Let's get my wheel up here, and we'll put it on the desk. And we'll show you, we're going to add some more today. Okay, so there's our wheel with all our colors. So these are the ones that we had so far. We had Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Then today we added Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Samuel, Kings, Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther. Whoa, that is a lot to add. Let me see if I can do it on here pretty quick. So you need to take your paper plate. If you're just joining us today for the first time, you just get a 10-inch paper plate. And, oops, I got something stuck here. And you write on it the books of the Bible, and then you take some clothespins and you color them with colored pencils is probably the easiest. Crayons might work, but I'm not sure. You color them with colored pencils, and then you take a Sharpie marker and you write with a Sharpie the books of the Bible that we've done so far. So today you're going to add Joshua, Judges. Oops, I'm stuck here. And you're going to add Ruth. Where are we up to on here? We've got Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. And then we're going to add the 3 that have the first and second parts, which is 1 and 2 Samuel, and then 1 and 2 Kings. Look how our color wheel's taking shape. Who thought we would get this far this fast? And like I said before, you can color your clothespins ahead of time. You can just take an afternoon, like I say if there was no school or something, you could just color a whole bunch of clothespins and then put the names on as we get around here. There we go. So we have all our 1st and 2nds, and then we've got Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. And like I said, you can put a string on it here, and then you can write the books of the Bible, and you'll have them, and you can play with them, and take them off and on, and see who knows them, and see who can do them the fastest, all those kinds of things. Okay, for a little review, what do you think? Think we can do it? Do you think we can go from Genesis to Esther with all our actions? I'm a little afraid. I don't know if we can do it. What if I get stuck? Then I'll look silly on the TV. I might need your help. Okay, do you think we can do it? All right, let's try it. And if I get stuck, you're not allowed to laugh, okay? We'll do it together. All right. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua and Judges, Ruth, 1 and 2 Samuel, 1 and 2 Kings, 1 and 2 Chronicles, then it's Ezra, bye-bye to Babylon, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. Did we do them all? Did anyone count? Is that 17? I think it was. I hope it was. I hope I didn't give you like 12 or 13. I think that was all 17. We just did 17 books of the Bible. You can wow and amaze your brothers and sisters and your parents. See if your parents can name the first 17 books of the Bible. And if they can't, you can say, oh, well, I can, and you can do it for them. And then, like I said, you can pull out your color wheel and you can play games with it. Take some clothespins off and see if you can figure out which ones are missing. This is kind of fun, isn't it, learning the books of the Bible? All right, let me pray for you, and then next week, we're going to learn some more. All right, let's pray. Father, I just thank you for the kids today. I just thank you for everything that we're learning. And I pray, Lord, that you'd help them to be able to know all 66 books of the Bible. And you'd help us not just to know what they are, but to know what they're about and how it should affect our hearts. So I just bless them and pray that you give them an awesome week at school this week. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you guys, I guess the next time I can see you, it's going to be March. All right, see you in March.